was going to guide us in our discussion.
Audio.
So this is the case study. Wilson is a breadwinner in a polygamous family in the district. He has 2 wives and 10 children. He's a software developer. Engineer who has been looking for a job for 3 years, but there's none he has got yet. All the IT companies he has approached have no jobs to offer him. So due to the heavy responsibility of supporting his family financially, Wilson decides to develop a malicious software designed to perform deductions of 10 shillings on all deposits made to a bank. So these deductions are directed to Wilson's secret bank accounts. So Gilbert is a wealthy businessman who deals in importation of electronics from Japan. With this kind of business, Gilbert makes heavy deposits and withdrawals frequently. On a fateful day, Gilbert goes to withdraw money to clear off his goods, and then he realizes that his account balance is much lower than he expected. He then approaches the bank manager, who promises to investigate in 2 weeks' time. Yet Gilbert has to clear for the goods within 1 week. So as a policy, the selling agency or supplier charges 30% fine of the total cost if imports for late payment of goods. So Gilbert pleads to the bank manager to carry out the investigation within a week, but the manager emphasizes that 2 weeks is the set duration for the bank to have carried out the investigation. Gilbert gets so frustrated that he decides to sue the bank. Now, during the investigation, the bank realizes that a large sum of money has been diverted to an unknown account. So that's the dilemma we are in, and we are going to discuss it with my colleagues here to point out the ethical issues and the ethical dilemmas that we're actually facing in this scenario. So my colleagues are going to guide us in the discussion, and we hope it's going to be a very interesting discussion. Thank you. You can pause from there. Which parties are involved here and why are they involved?
First,
how are they affected?
you started.
Yeah.
Sorry, you start again.
Start. Okay.
Start. You don't have to do that. Start.
No, it's recording. Can you bend down your stuff? Just like this. It's much better than getting an aerial view. Okay.
What are you doing in software?
So you guys, we begin the discussion. So I'm going to take you through the discussion by beginning by this question. You guys, if you have the scenario in your heads, we have very many parties here involved. And I can ask one of you, Amy, for example, what do you think are the parties involved here and how are they affected in this scenario?
The parties, we have Wilson, then we have Gilbert, now being affected by that situation. When you see Gilbert is being affected by the bank, the institution, and then for this, for Wilson, for him is also being affected by the company not giving him the opportunity to work with them. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I get that argument, but is the company at fault for not giving Wilson a job? Do you think the company was right not to give him a job, or the company would have given him a job? I think Fidel, you know that better. Why do you think the company was wrong, or why do you think the company was right?
Well, I think according to the company, depends on the company. So many times you can go and ask for a job, and maybe they have no job vacancies to offer to you, or maybe you're not meeting the set principles or the set conditions that one has to meet in order for them to give you a job. And so it depends on the company, and maybe at the time I was looking for a job, there were no, maybe it was past the deadline for them to receive applicants, and they had no job postings anyhow. Yeah, so he became frustrated because he really expected to be given job opportunities to the IT companies, but they had no jobs for him. So that's why he had to decide now to look for various ways to meet the financial needs of the family. And since he was innovative and creative as a software engineer, so he had to put the idea into action and come up with any software that can help him generate the money to sustain his family, since the responsibility was too much.
Oh, so yeah, I get that. So from your argument, you're suggesting that the company was actually wrong to not give Wilson the job, because among the pillars of professional ethics, that if someone is in dire need, you have to help him as a professional person. But the company didn't actually listen to Wilson, and so they made him go away without a job. And because he had a very big family, Wilson had to think of a different alternative.
Yeah, I think the company, it depends. Maybe if Wilson, by the time he was looking for a job, if he had explained his problem and the company never understood his situation, then maybe they were wrong on that side.
And actually, the big argument here. Yeah. You see, we have Wilson is a programmer, and then he decides to go and make a software program, a virus, and plants it into the servers of the bank. So, in your own opinion, Gilbert, do you think this is the right step for Wilson to take?
No,
because
before you ask Gilbert, I want to add something on that. According to the case study that you've seen, it's like Wilson was not offered a job because of experience. He didn't have experience. And I'm not thinking it's right. Why? Because you don't expect someone to just come from the university or from wherever they are. You don't give them a job and you expect them to get an experience. I'm thinking that the company would have given him a chance to exploit, to see what he has at hand as a programmer, such that they can determine from what he gives them to gauge his experience or to gauge his expertise, and then they either choose to chase him away or to continue with him. That would have been better for Wilson, and I don't think he would have done the other. He would have gone ahead to develop the software. So if they had given him that job under such conditions, maybe that would have worked better.
So in your own opinion, do you think Wilson was right to go ahead and make the software?
Yeah, I think Wilson was right, because sometimes, the universe is not so fair. The people are not so fair. There are certain things they ask for without, they be so rigid when they are setting up rules, and they don't consider other things. I think he was so right, because like you said before, it was some kind of moral omission. Yeah, they had to listen to him, because I think, according to the case study, he explained his stature. He explained his condition. He was a family guy, moreover polygamous, and they had at least to hear him out. And it was a profession, for Christ's sake. So they would have at least considered such things, and they gauge if he has the expertise or not.
Yeah, I get that, but Diana seems to disagree with you. I don't know what he says about that.
I disagree, because you cannot say that the company will not resemble what comes to seek for employment. Because it does not matter wherever you are. You can be a profession without experience. You can just have a paper. So Wilson just had to first make something, present something like software product that can really show that he has experience. But he just went explaining all his problems. There are very many people with polygamous families, but they don't go, talking about all the families that they have and all the people they are supposed to support. But you go with the experience, you show what you have done, so that you get the employment. So I don't think the company had.
So thank you so much, Diana. Adding on that, the software the presentation that you're talking about is the software that he made. Thanks be to God, he made the software, and they had to know that he has the expertise, and they had to suffer the consequences because they did not trust him. There is always this other bit of the memory of the brain, whereby sometimes you have the instinct to trust someone because maybe you think they can do something or they cannot. So even that instinct would have come into play, because it's also part of ethics.
So Ruth, you say that Wilson was right.
Yeah, to a large extent.
Diana disagrees with you. He
I
says,
still disagree, because there is what we call personal marketing. You cannot go marketing yourself where there are very many professionals and with very, very much experience, and you go explaining your personal problems, that you need a job because of a personal problem. You need to market yourself using the software. So instead, maybe he would just develop the software and present it to the company before going to hack into the system. So I don't think it was right for Wilson to to make that software and hack the system.
I get your argument. But Bernard, you seem to shake your head and don't agree with these ladies here. What's your take on this?
No, I partially agree with Diana because of one fact. You see, there is that other aspect of point hacking, the strategy, whereby if you need to emphasize a point that there are loopholes into someone's system, you first hack it, right? Then they will understand that there is a problem. Then, according to the utilitarian, there is something they said that the end always justifies the means. So if at all the means provided Wilson with the job, probably was right. It's justifiable that.
Yeah, I really get your argument. You say the end justifies the means, but then the means, much as you want to achieve something, the means also matter. You don't have to go against the laws to achieve something. That is the case for happiness. You want to be happy, but then you have to follow the rules. I think Wilson, I think you agree with me on this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even the professional code of conduct for software developers, a profession is not supposed to develop a software which is against the public interest. Him developing a software which is to be shopping money from people's account, it's against these other people who are being affected, the ones who are banking with that bank, the ones who are banking with the bank which the software is affecting. The company which failed to give him the job, it's not the one which is affected, but these other common people are being affected because of what? Because of the software he developed.
If you are to analyze it properly, Wilson didn't affect the businessman directly because that money is already insured. If you are stealing your money from the bank, you don't arrest the person who is stealing it. Instead, you sue the bank, which the guy did. That is why I disagree with Mr. Wilson.
Okay, I get your argument.
But what I'm trying to say is that Wilson was right because of one thing. If Wilson went ahead to develop this software, to develop this software before he had gone to the bank to ask for the job, he was going to be wrong. But now this guy comes and he asks for the job, and with genuine reason, because he had a family and the guy had the experience he could offer for the bank. So that's why I say that Wilson was ready to go ahead to develop the bank and show them that these guys had a weakness. That's why he needed to come in and serve.
Yes.
Oh, I get your argument.
Yeah.
But I think the argument is becoming so aggressive here. But then I'm going to take one more suggestion from Diana, and then we proceed from there.
I think let me also go on the side of Wilson. Let me support Wilson. Using virtual ethics, it doesn't matter. It states that what matters morally is what you become with time, not what you do at the moment. So if we consider virtual ethics, Wilson is right, because it's not about what he is doing right now. As long as he finishes to get all the money he needs to sustain the family, maybe he can quit that and maybe go back to the profession.
I get it. So I think all of you here agree with me that do anything to achieve something.
Yes.
I think you agree with me that.
I think it depends on the
Yes,
circumstances.
Gilbert, you're saying something.
It was really unethical. I mean, you can't blame the bank for not giving Wilson a job. Now, how many people are jobless on the street? Do they go blaming the companies where they ask jobs from? No. And what Wilson did was really wrong, because after that, I mean, he went ahead to make that software that would deduct the money from the bank and affect other people, claiming that he wanted to earn a living. But how many people are, we should really put into consideration, many people are out there not having jobs, and they are not complaining because they don't blame the organizations where they go to ask jobs from.
Okay, what I can say,
according to
let that guy add.
Can I add on one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
For me personally, what I think is the company where Wilson went and asked for the job. Imagine if I have a certain amount of money and I know I'm going to employ 5 employees. That's where my budget can what? That's what my budget can cover. So I cannot decide to employ somebody else. I add the 6th person, yet I'm even maybe getting hard time paying the 5 people. So Wilson has to maybe try something else. He can either go back to the village, do some farming, and take care of the family.
Let us be organized here. Let us be organized here. I'm the chair here. So I decide who talks and who doesn't talk.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying is, I'm going to give you one last chance. Ruth, what do you say?
Thank you so much. I think you guys are basing on only one company, but the case study is telling us that Wilson moved from company to company and they were all not offering him a job. It cannot be a coincidence that everyone has maybe a limit of employees, that everyone has, okay, they have the same rules and regulations of getting the employees. You get the point? So I think it was not, when I go back to what Gilbert said, that not every employee, not every person who is jobless on the streets should blame the company. It's not a point of blame. It's a point of proof. Wilson was simply proving his capability. Thank you so much. He was proving his capability. That's why he chose to only deduct 10% of the people's deposits. If he was being so malicious, he would have chosen to take all the money and then disappear.
Okay, I get your arguments, people.
Let me ask something.
Yeah, Gilbert.
Wasn't there a better way of proving his capability than stealing?
Than hacking.
Wasn't there? Couldn't he think of another idea and develop a software? We have so many software engineers who have developed softwares that are not doing any harm to the public. So was that the only way of showing his capability?
Okay, according to you, how would you expect Wilson to prove himself that he's capable to serve?
Of course, that's why I asked the question.
But I think only way you could prove out to this guy that he is
according to the moral judgments of ethics, depending on his circumstance situation, he had just to do that way, because otherwise, well, others develop software, but according to him, he had the responsibility, and they're expecting him to provide the finances.
Yeah, I think still, you guys, you know what?
His situation, it led him to go and develop that malicious software because of what he was experiencing, what he was going through.
We can ask for more views on YouTube.
The thing is, you guys, you didn't see what Wilson was going through. Wilson is a father in a polygamous family.
Yeah.
Over 10 children. The children need to... Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on. He needs to take care of the children. He needs to feed them. That means money was to come out. That means he had to look for the best way of providing for the family. But then,
searched for the best ways.
But then there are very many ways. There are very many ways of solving a problem.
He had already set conditions of how he can handle that polygamous.
So what you are saying is,
it's his fault to run a family which he cannot support.
Exactly.
But it's not a fault for the ones who failed to offer him a job.
But based on the circumstance that he has,
But
it's the circumstance that led him to develop that software. The circumstance.
Now that the family is into existence, they don't have anything to do about it. You cannot just kill a child. You can get a mean of doing what? Of raising the kids. You get the point?
I get it.
You cannot just kill them because they are already into what? Existence.
All right,
you get the point?
I get it.
And to add on that, using utilitarianism, it's a school of thought. We always cater for the happiness of the greatest of the majority. So since Wilson has a greatest number of kids and he's only deducting 10% of everyone, and remember those people, most of the people who are depositing, they always have big numbers of money. I remember the bank is already wealthy, so it helps.
I'm taking a measure of his family or people who are being affected when they are making
being affected,
transactions
but not too
from
much
the
like
bank.
It's only 10%. It's only 10%.
It's only 10%, and it's going to help him cater for the
If you are
family.
considering people
According to the school of thought of
who are banking,
If I may ask, whose blame is it? That when you look at Wilson, he knows his condition is worse. He's unemployed, he cannot take care of his kids, 10 kids. So why if you know that you're not capable of taking care of the 10 kids, why do you give birth to all the 10?
You never know. You never know that you're not going to be capable. Yes. I think this guy was an engineer and he thought that the profession was going to give him a fortune.
Let's put the assumption. Let's put an assumption.
I know now that the kids are into existence, there is nothing we can do about that.
But
we cannot assume the things that.
Let's put an assumption. You've just left school now, and you've started walking, looking for a job, one place to another, for all the 3 years. Does that mean that you know your condition is what? It's hard. You're looking for a job. You've just gotten out of campus. Does that mean that you're going to produce the kids? All those 10 kids within that time, yet you know you're having hard time.
He was
I get the argument.
So he's in the circumstance with 10 children and he has no other way to do it.
I get the argument.
For the
I get the
jobs,
argument.
no jobs. So
I get the argument.
he had just to prove that.
I get the argument, but the thing is, this is a summary here.
Yeah.
The thing is, we cannot blame Wilson for having children. That is something that he was created to do, procreation. So we can't blame Wilson for that. Okay? So we are looking at what is at hand. Wilson find a way of solving his family's issues, and that was by hacking into the bank and getting money from the bank. Now, we have 3 people here. We have the bank, we have Wilson, and we have Gilbert as a businessman. Ivan, how do you think Gilbert was affected, being a businessman? He wanted money at a very crucial time, but the money was not there. How do you think Gilbert was affected?
Okay, I think Gilbert being a businessman and the time he wanted the money and he wouldn't get the money. So I think as a businessman, I stand up. So, okay, I think dinner times. I think Gilbert, there's some transactions as a businessman that Gilbert wanted to actually carry out at that particular moment, and I didn't have the money. So I want to believe that actually most of the transactions wouldn't go further because of lack of finances. So I think Gilbert was affected in a way that his plans didn't work out, or his transaction that he wanted to run didn't really work out because of lack of money.
Okay, and Bernard, how was the bank affected?
Probably I would say its name was
Tarnished?
or what they call it, law defamation. Probably because they had to go into a lawsuit. Yeah, I was still stating the bank must have been a victim to defamation, since probably the businessman wanted his money and his business was being stolen at the time, so they had to compensate, and that would entail getting much more money from other people's accounts to settle this guy because he wanted it and it was time of need.
Okay, in conclusion, I'm going to pick 3 of you. You tell me what happened and why you think he did the right thing or he did the wrong thing. Okay? Now I'm going to give you the parties. Now Henry, Wilson hacked into the bank. He got money that was not his. Do you think he was right?
According to me, Wilson was right because he explained to these guys, the bank, the situation, and they didn't understand him. So he had to prove them that he was capable to serve, although they told him he didn't have the experience to serve them.
Then, do you think the bank was right to? Do you think Wilson was right to go and plant that virus onto the servers of the bank?
I think this time I'll say Wilson was not right, because as a profession you're supposed to work in the interest of the public. You're supposed to consider the common good. So in this sense he wasn't right, and
the family was a common good.
I think he still remains wrong. He wasn't right still, using the part of deontology. Something remains bad, like it is stealing. He stole people's money. It remains bad, however much the consequences were good, but it remains bad according to the deontology school of thought.
Okay. Now I think from the discussion here, we have a lot of dilemmas here. But all in all, we have to agree that morals will remain morals. Whether you steal a goat or you steal a cow, you are a thief. So I think that Wilson was morally wrong. I mean, we know very well that an action cannot change the moral value an action cannot change the moral value attached to any given action. So once you do something wrong, it is wrong morally. If you do something right, it is right morally. So what I'm saying is, Wilson, yes, he had a problem. He had to take care of his family, but then what he did was wrong. He wasn't supposed to do that. There's always another way of solving such a problem. So much as Gilbert went to, much as Wilson went to the bank and planted their software virus, that means Wilson, much as he got what he wanted, but he wasn't moral enough. So in conclusion, we are saying that Wilson was actually wrong. I hope you agree with me in that.
I'll partially agree with you because there are very many schools that we depend on to judge the morality of someone. You can say that he was morally wrong, but according to utilitarianism, as in you're supposed to consider the greatest good of the majority. What do you call the majority in this incident? Maybe the family was going to suffer and maybe die. So in this case, it was the majority we would consider. And
who are the majority?
You cannot say that he was, in that sense, he was
getting money from people's accounts.
I think there, if you say the majority, you are wrong. The majority is the public.
Okay.
Because it is not only Gilbert that suffered, but even it is just that Gilbert realized it. He realized that his money was missing. But if you consider, many people use this bank for banking. So many people were affected by this act.
Okay,
so he is wrong.
I'll still use the utilitarianism to support Wilson to say that at one point you can say that he wasn't wrong. Reason being, using the consequence, utilitarianism considers the consequences. An action, you can judge an action as being morally wrong or good using the consequence. In this incident, Wilson had a good consequence, and you can say that he wasn't morally wrong because of the consequence.
And about what Dan is saying, we have to look at what the guy was intending to do. Huh?
Yeah.
Was he stealing the money, that 10% from everyone's account, to take it or to attain the job at the end?
Take it to support his family financially.
And to also prove himself.
Not really, because the bank was not going to offer him a job. He was just looking for a way to support his family.
But most of the banks he went toward, the companies he went towards using because of experience.
So,
not experience, maybe by the time you reached there, maybe there were no jobs.
There were no jobs. So I think this scenario shows a number of things here. This scenario shows that life can throw at us very many challenging situations. We are looking at two situations here. Wilson wanting to support his family. What does he do? He looks for the best way out. Being a programmer, he knows how to make softwares. So he makes a software program, plants it on the servers of the bank, and gets the money at the end. So he has solved his family problem. On the other hand, there's a businessman, Gilbert. As usual, he makes his imports, but then this day he finds that the money is not enough in his account. So Gilbert suffers. So Wilson benefits, Wilson suffers. So this is how situations can be so tricky in life. So as a professional engineer, we need to consider these facts. That when you do something, much as you are going to benefit, someone else might also suffer. So I think ethically, it's important for you to consider all parties. Okay. So I think all in all, you'll agree with me that Wilson was above all unethical.
Yeah.
Because much as he solved his problems, but he caused problems to Gilbert.
Yeah.
He was a businessman, so the company that he bought goods from ended up charging him because of Wilson's fault. So Wilson should have looked for a better way of solving his family issues. Okay. So I think it has been a good discussion.
May I say something small?
Okay, please go ahead.
If you're saying he was unethical, there is also this scenario whereby one of the difficulties of ethics is agreeing on what is right and what is wrong. What Robert agrees that is right, I might not.
That's what you're saying is unethical, not wrong.
Yeah. What you're saying is right might not be right for me. What you're saying is wrong might not be wrong for me. So ethics sometimes can be determined by people. Yeah, because the ethics we always follow were put by people. You get?
Yes, but
Okay,
according
please.
to the code of ethics,
So
as
I-
a professional, Wilson was unethical. Yeah.
So I think it is important for us to know the ethics of software engineers. So, and I think it was a nice discussion, and we think that this scenario can actually act as an insight into the future scenarios that you're going to face as software engineers. So I would like to thank you, colleagues, for your contributions. You guys have had very tremendous contributions, and I really thank you for your advice, for your insights, and for your contributions.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing this.